Welcome to the Hard Truth Podcast. This is Jeremy Fouts. In today's podcast, we are going to be talking about cause and effect, the truth about your choices. And I recognize that majority of my audience is parents, so I definitely put a lot of things in here for you parents, but I also know that the majority of you parents are not only trying to be champions like I talked about last week, but you're trying to raise champions, whether that be a female or a male athlete. And, I wanted to go over some things with you that I didn't learn till my late 20s, early 30s, that I really hope that whether you're an athlete listening or a mom or dad raising athletes, or you're a mom and a dad that's not where you want to be in life and you're trying to figure things out. I feel like even at 50 years old, which not 50 yet, will be April 6th, I feel like every day I'm learning something new. But this topic that I want to talk to you about, cause and effect, is something I really started understanding in my late 20s, early 30s, and recognize that if I'm going to succeed in life, it's going to be because of this cause and effect theory. So I want to get started this morning and try to help you understand that your choices that you make is going to determine your success.
Let's go.
So here's the hard truth starting off. Your life right now is the sum of your choices. Period. No questions asked. Every rep you skipped, every meal you blew off, every distraction you gave into, it all adds up to where you are right now in life. See, too many of us, we want to blame the coaches, parents, teammates, our circumstances. But the truth is, we are the living example of the choices that we have chose. So athletes, that means your performance on the field. Parents, that means the habits you model at home. And here is the promise I will make to you today. Today we are going to be breaking down the cause and effect, why it matters, and how owning your choices is the first step to becoming a champion in sports, but more importantly, in life. So starting off with part one, the law of cause and effect. Now, athletes, parents, if you have never heard of this, this is a real law. This is something that is not a myth. This is not something that's a theory. The law of cause and effect is real. So you athletes listening, or maybe parents of athletes, every rep, every meal, and every hour of sleep is either building you or breaking you. Parents, every choice you make, from the food in your pantry to how you handle adversity, sets the example your athlete will follow. So, athletes and maybe parents of athletes, if you really understand that this process of becoming the best you can be is an everyday process. It's every rep. I work out with Pearson quite often on his off days in school that he does not have lifts with the baseball team. And, I'm really working with him right now every rep. You don't just get the dumbbells and get down on the bench and go through the motions. It's, did we give max effort? Did we have a plan of approach on every lift that we make? Every meal that we choose, does it have the right macros? Every time we go to bed, are we rested up and prepared to get the best sleep we can? All of this matters. And parents, the foods that you choose to buy at Costco today, the foods you choose to buy at the local grocery store, do you have a plan with those foods to build a champion and for you to be the model of your athlete? Here's the truth line, guys. The scoreboard doesn't lie. The mirror doesn't lie. Your results are the reflection of your daily choices. And for parents, your kids' choices are often a reflection of yours. So we've got to understand that our life and where we're going to end up, the impact we are going to make on others It all comes down to the law of cause and effect. So, part two here. This is very important. I read a book by Andy Andrews when I was in my late 20s, and it was called The Traveler's Gift. And I was going through that time in my life where I was making a transition, in my life from farming to being full time nutrition. And, I had a lot of bad luck. I won't bore you with all the stories, but I had some crop failures and I owed some people some money. And I was kind of just like that feeling that poor, pitiful me. And all of us have been there. And I opened up this book and I started reading it. It was called The Traveler's Gift by Andy Andrews. I recommend everyone to read this book. And I don't want to give it away, but at the beginning of this book, there was this man in this book that literally just lost his job. His wife just divorced him, and he was going to see his daughter, who was 10-year-old, in the hospital. She was very sick. He was just going through that really bad funk in life. And then an angel come to him and said, "Man, you can't blame others. You chose the college that you went to. You chose the degree. You chose the job. You chose the wife. You chose to get married. You chose to have a kid." And so one of the things that I really learned from this book is this cause and effect theory. I learned that I can't blame others. So we have got to understand, whether it be athletes or parents. Athletes, you can't blame the refs, you can't blame the coaches, you can't blame bad luck. You have to own your game. Parents, you can't blame the politics, you can't blame the playing time or the system. I mean, you have got to say, I am helping my kid control what they can control. You've got to understand, when you blame others, you give them the power. When you own your own choices, you take that power back. You all know that I'm a big Tom Brady fan, and see, he could have, blamed others of being the 199th pick, but he said no excuses. His cause was obsessive preparation. His effect equaled 7 Super Bowls. So blaming others, guys, is one of those things that you're giving them that power, and you're going to be giving them that power over and over. You've got to take that back and own your choices. Part 3, why is this important? Because your choices compound. Athletes, the small habits, they stack up. That extra snack, that missed workout, that late night scroll on your TikTok, all of that compounds. Parents, your daily consistency compounds as well. Do you make nutrition and sleep priority in your house? Do you live discipline in front of your kids? Because here's what it all comes down to in this quote. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits. Now think about that. You just because you have goals. I'm a big goal person. I believe in making goals. My boys know every January we make goals for them. We sit down and talk about family goals. We really understand what it is we're trying to accomplish in this year, in this first 90 days, the second 90 days, the third 90 days. But just having a goal, it does not mean you're going to rise to the top. You fall to the level of your habits. Do you have really good daily habits? Are you making real good choices in order to be able to make those goals happen? Next is, and I forgot to share this, at the end here of part 3, the Kobe Bryant story. You guys all know the 4 a.m. workouts, daily compounding, that's what made him unstoppable. So those daily choices, again, is what made him be the greatest, or one of the greatest. Part 4, cause and effect in the mind. This is really powerful. I'm working with an athlete right now that has unbelievable physical talent, but he's struggling with his mental mindset. And I was going to do a podcast today talking about mental mindset. I might do it next week. All the things that we're practicing with him on visualization and all those different things. But athletes, here's what it comes down to. You have to feed your mind with belief, visualization, and self-talk. Starve it of excuses. You cannot go into a situation, whether it be a football game or a practice, and have a lack of belief. You've got to step into every situation and believe that you are the best. You have to step in every situation and visualize you having success. You know, I was reading a study yesterday about that was done on tennis, some of the best tennis players ever. And the study basically said it wasn't the most gifted ones that was the best tennis players. It was the ones that had the sharpest mental mindset that believed that they was the best. So parents, I'll give you some advice. This is something that I worked real hard on this last 3 years. And that is guard your athletes' mental environment. Are they consuming truth and discipline or distraction and negativity? So parents, now this can be what they're seeing on social media. This can be the way you're treating them after a ball game. You know, if they made mistakes, how do we handle this correctly? Are we just all in their butt and telling them how horrible they are? Or are we trying to talk through these situations and saying, man, you might have went 0 for 3, but that's okay. Let's break down every at bat and what did we learn from these situations. But guarding your athlete is something that's very, very important. You know, Muhammad Ali, talking about belief, he declared himself the greatest before anyone else did. He said, cause equals relentless belief. Effect equals living into greatness. He decided that he was going to claim to be the best. He decided to believe in himself before anyone else did. You parents, you athletes, I'm telling you, it may seem a little goofy, but if you step on that field and you believe in yourself and you say, I am going to be best. Parents, if you step into that corporate role and say, no one's going to outwork me, I'm going to rise up through this company and provide for my family and be the best. Parents, if you say, I'm going to conquer my nutrition, I'm going to conquer the gym, I'm going to conquer everything I can about greatness in my life, I'm going to be that husband, I'm going to be that mom, I'm going to be that dad that I want to be, not to just be a dad, not to just be a mom, but I'm going to be the best dang mom or dad that I can be. That greatness is something that comes within. In closing here, guys, summarizing everything for you athletes, parents, and coaches, everything you have or don't have is a direct result of what you choose or didn't choose. The sooner you own that truth, the sooner you unlock the true potential. So athletes and parents, I got some challenges for you. Athletes, track your week. Every rep, every meal, every wasted minute. Then ask yourself this question. Are my causes lining up with the effects that I say I want? Tracking is something I've talked about for years. You know, I've ran several companies and I've ran, large organizations in multiple countries. And I always tell all of my leaders that I've worked with and everyone that I've really put some time into, whether that be from a sales organization or whether that be the athletes that I work with daily, is like, if you don't track it, you're not winning. I've never had an athlete go and gain weight without tracking how many calories they're burning a day, how many calories they're bringing in a day, how much protein, how much carbs, how much fats, a plan for the workout. Are they getting stronger every week? Parents, it's the same way with our finances. If we're not tracking our finances, we're not making goals for our finances, we're not pushing ourselves to be the best, then we're not going to be the best. And parents, track your influence this week. What habits are you modeling? What foods are you bringing home? What attitudes are you showing? Because your kids are becoming what they see every day. Final line here. Success isn't magic. It's cause and effect. Own your choices, or your choices will own you. Audience, Cause and effect is real. And if you really think about that last one, success isn't magic, it's cause and effect. You either own your choices or your choices will own you. You will either see parents that you have lived the life that you want to live, and that's been a reflection of what your son or your daughter accomplishes in life, or you're going to look back and be full of regret and say, man, why didn't I do things a little bit different? Cause and effect is real. Thank you guys for sharing this podcast with your friends and family. Leave us a review, like and subscribe to the podcast, and we are going to continue to do our best to help you be the best that you can be. Have a great day.